Hi everyone, and welcome along to this webinar about how to set a compliant, progressive, engaging and meaningful curriculum for PE in primary schools. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to actually set a curriculum. So we're going to look at it both for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. We're going to look at how we build the skill sets that we need to make that curriculum both engaging and inspiring for the children, but also to get that really important progression throughout PE so that every year group is learning new skills and progressing on the skills learned in the previous year. And to do that, we're going to use the Tlg-PE system. So this is a fundamentally free resource. You can come and download this at any point. You can just access it via tlg-pe.co.uk and you can build your own exciting curriculum. Now, all you need to do to start with is just decide your location. So we'll just do England. We're going to do a 2-lesson-a-week curriculum to start with, but if you only have one PE lesson, you can use one. And we're going to do it for a primary school. Now, importantly, when you're thinking about curriculums, you look at swimming. So if swimming takes one of your PE lessons away, then you would do 2 PE lessons and you would put in to your long-term plan where swimming takes a PE lesson. Obviously, if you're very lucky and swimming is an additional lesson on top of the 2 PE lessons, then you wouldn't put swimming into your long-term plan. So in ours, we're just going to have the children swimming in year 5 and we're just going to have them swimming all year. So that's it, we're done. Right, so we're going to start with foundation and reception, okay? So, and I'm going to just do it as a full year. Now, reception PE, really what you're trying to achieve here is some core development statements. So we're looking at the EYFS development statements that are actually impacting on PE. But you're also looking at things like being able to get changed, being able to get ready for PE, being able to take turns, being able to share. So all those kind of skills that you can develop through physical education. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to look at just themes. So we'll probably tie this into our long-term plan for other subjects. So we'd look at where we're doing other areas in EYFS and we just tie the best one in that we possibly can from physical education. So I'm just going to go through and add some of these. These are just themes that are in the TLG system. They're there for you to use if you want to. If you decide that there are other themes that you'd want to do, then obviously you can go and put those into your long-term plan. But these are the ones that are in our system. Let's try and think of some that we haven't already done. Superheroes. Fairy tales. Down on the farm. And then the last 2, I think is possibly that one. And that one. We've got celebrations there twice, so we'll just change that one to castles, I think is probably the right one. Okay, so that's our reception planning mapped out. So we're just looking at that as tying it into themes that we're doing in other areas of our EYFS. When we then go to Key Stage 1, we're looking at making sure that when we leave Key Stage 1, we've got some of those core skills that we need to make sure that Key Stage 2 is really successful from a PE perspective. So with Key Stage 1, we suggest that you look at those core fundamental skills and being able to do those in isolation. So it's being able to throw, it's being able to catch, it's being able to roll, it's being able to kick, it's being able to strike, it's being able to field, and then various different gymnastics elements, and really being able to do those first of all in isolation, so when there's nothing else going on around you, and then secondly being able to do them with some added game pressure, so in a small-sided game or where there's other things to think about. So that might be throwing and catching in a game like Piggy in the Middle, where there's somebody to avoid, something else to see, something else to think about. But really we're looking at developing those core skills so that when we move into Key Stage 2, we can then look at more sport-specific learning and we can start to make that more game relative and we can add some pressure into their technique and that will help develop the skill. So we're going to look at an indoor and an outdoor unit for each half term and we're going to look at being just quite clever about when we put things into our long-term plan, specifically with regards to weather and making sure that we've got all the curriculum requirements ticked. So we'll look at autumn 1 first. So we'll click year 1 outdoor. So personally, I think that when you're looking at Key Stage 1, the really fundamental thing is throwing and catching. The majority of sports require you to be able to throw and catch. So I would always suggest that September, you start the year with throwing and catching. Now, what this TLG system is asking you here is whether you want to then put that into year 2 as well. And I'm a big believer, and we're a big believer here at TLG-PE, that continuity helps learning. So if you can do throwing and catching in year 1, you then do it again in year 2, and you build on the skills developed, and that gives you a progressive curriculum. So I'm going to put yes, and that now puts throwing and catching into my outdoor PE in September for year 1 and 2. I'm going to go downwards, so outdoor in September. I'm going to look at sending and receiving, and again I'm going to give it that continuity. Spring 1, so the turn of the year, I'm going to look at attacking and defending, because I know that if worst case scenario it rains or the weather is cold, then I can bring that inside and I can use games like dodgeball, bench ball, crab football to still look at those core attacking and defending skills. Spring 2, so this is just coming up to Easter. I'm going to look at net and wall games. I'm going to get my tennis and my racket sport element into the curriculum then. And then as it gets to summer, I'm going to think about, right, what do I want to do here? I want to look at maybe some athletics, or I might want to look at some OAA. I'm going to go with OAA. So I'm going to look at outdoor adventurous activity. And then in summer 2, I'm going to hit some athletics. Okay, so what I haven't got is I haven't got a year 2 summer 1 outdoor PE provision. So I'm just going to do that one manually. And what I'm going to do, because I think it's really important, is I'm actually going to do another throwing and catching unit. So I'm going to do throwing and catching twice with year 2. Indoor, I'm then going to look at what we teach in our indoor PE lessons in Key Stage 1. And again, I want to think about the curriculum requirements, I want to think about the progressiveness, and I want to make sure that our dance that we're going to teach ties in with themes that the school are doing as a whole. So I'm going to click the first one, and I'm going to hit... let's see, I'm going to do gymnastics, travel and shapes, and I'm going to make sure that I do that again in year 2. Autumn 2, so coming up to Christmas, I'm going to dance. I think in year 1 I'm going to hit a Christmas dance. I think that's really useful to get that in at that time of year. So I'm going to select Christmas dance, and for year 2 I'm going to do dance as well, but I'm going to give them street dance, I think, so something perhaps a bit more upbeat. Spring 1, I'm going to go back to gymnastics, and this time I'm going to do balance and jumps rather than travel and shapes. And then spring 2, I'm going to get back to dance, and I'm going to do animals in Key Stage 1, in year 1, and I'm going to do superheroes in year 2. So now we're through to summer 1. So I might decide that I want to go outside, and I perhaps don't want to use an indoor PE lesson in summer 1. If I did want to do an indoor PE lesson, I might want to do some sort of games. I might want to look at striking and fielding. I might want to look at attacking and defending. I might just want to look at another dance. I'm just going to actually hit just a full unit of gymnastics. And then I'm going to go outdoor again in summer 2, and I'm going to give the children double athletics, because I think that that time of year, the sunshine, it's good for the children, it's good for the teachers to just be outside, be energetic, and just get plenty of running around on. So I'm pretty happy that as a Key Stage 1 curriculum, that looks like it's ticking all the boxes. What it has done there is I've taken out, that's better, put my OAA back in. Right, so I'm happy with Key Stage 1. Moving on to Key Stage 2. Now you can see straight away that first and foremost my swimming that I put in right at the start is into my map. And it's also put OAA into year 3 for me because I've done it in year 1. Now what I am going to do there in summer term is I'm just going to take that out and I'm going to change it to something else. But to start with, we're going to just map out our curriculum. So as we said, it's really important that we have that continuity of sport. So I'm going to look at sports being taught right through the curriculum. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and really increasing the skill set that we're teaching in those sports. Now, from a mapping point of view, we're looking at basically developing the skills of the games in year 3. So it's how to use the equipment, what to do with it, how to move with it, how to send it, how to receive it. In year 4, it's how to win it back, how to beat somebody with it, how to get past somebody, how to tackle somebody. We then take that game into year 5, where we look at small-sided games and we're looking at the attacking and defending principles of the sport. So how width, depth, penetration impact that particular sport. And then in year 6, we look at applying the skills that we've learned in year 5 into small-sided games and making the right decisions at the right times with those games. We also look at refereeing, scorekeeping, things like that in year 6. So, first up in September, what sort of sports do we want to play? Well, it's given me some ideas. For me, I think tag rugby is a fantastic sport to do in PE. It's going to show me how I can get it done in all 3 years. So I'm going to put it straight in and I'm going to go with it year 3, 4, 5, 6, straight away tag rugby right through. In autumn 2, I'm going to look at maybe netball. I think there's sometimes a big question whether it should be netball or basketball. For me, netball encourages more team play. It allows you to work as a team better. You know, if you have somebody who's really gifted in basketball, they tend to pick the ball up, dribble with it, try and score. Whereas in netball, because of that lack of movement with the ball, you have to be passing it to other people. You have to include other people in the game. So I'm going to go with netball there. And then in spring 1, I'm going to look at hockey as my next evasion game. Coming through to spring 2, if you remember in Key Stage 1 we looked at net and wall, so I'm going to continue that theme in Key Stage 2, and in spring 2 I'm going to put tennis into the curriculum, and again I'm going to teach that in 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now my OAA is in there, but I'm actually going to change that. So in summer 1 I'm going to look at cricket as my sport. I'm going to have a striking sport. I could choose rounders, but I could choose rounders all the way through. I'm going to choose cricket all the way through. And then finally, in summer 2, just like in Key Stage 1, I'm going to use athletics because it is basically a curriculum requirement that we can throw, run, jump in isolation. So they're my 6 key outdoor sports. Now, what I am going to do is I'm also going to add some additional outdoor sports into the summer term because, again, I don't really want to be inside when I can use the sunshine and we can take advantage of being able to get the children outside. So I'm going to change my summer 2 indoor to an outdoor sport. So I'm going to go to change to double outdoor PE, and I'm going to bring something a bit different. So what will the children want to do? If it's athletics, they might want something quite different. So you know, my school has got a massive field. We're really lucky to have that facility. So I'm going to go with Ultimate Frisbee. Now, Ultimate Frisbee is probably the sort of game where you can see just on the screen here, you're teaching lower Key Stage 2 and upper Key Stage 2. So I'm going to put it in there in year 3 and 5. 3 and 6. And in here, in year 4, in this indoor one, I'm going to change it to an outdoor one, and I'm going to put my OAA lesson in there. Now, if I'm doing OAA in year 4, I probably also need to do it in year 6. So I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to change to double outdoor PE. I'm going to put OAA in. And there it sits. Now, that means that in summer 1, I've got 2 indoor spaces to fill for year 3 and year 4. And I'm really just going to utilise them to do some dancing. So I'm going to hit indoors. I'm going to hit dance. In year 3, we're going to do a Tudor dance because we're doing a topic on that at that time. And in year 4, we're going to do a swing dance because that's when we're doing our project on World War II. So that fits in nicely and we're tying the whole curriculum together. Now, in spring 2, so we're working backwards. This is just coming up to Easter. So the weather's starting to get better, but I probably want to stick to indoor sports. So I'm going to have a quick look through at some of these indoor sports, and I'm going to go with dodgeball because I think that would make a really, really good addition and the kids would really enjoy that as part of the PE. Now, going back to spring 1, we need to get some gymnastics into this curriculum. Spring 1 is just after Christmas, generally the coldest time of the year, so we really need to be inside. And I'm going to go with floor gymnastics as my preferred gymnastics unit. And again, we're going to teach that right the way through. In autumn 2, then I'm going to look at this is, okay, so this is really cold, this is coming up to Christmas, and I'm going to use that to make sure that every year group dances, so we're getting at least 1 unit of dancing for every year group. So I'm going to check through the curriculum for the rest of the school, check through some of the topics that they're teaching, and then I'm going to match dance themes to each year group. So in year 3, we're going to do Egypt, so that's Egyptian dancing. In year 4, to match that topic, we're going to do Greek dancing, so we're doing a Greek project. In year 5, we're swimming anyway, and then in year 6, we're going to do dance, and we're going to do Victorian dancing. Which just leaves me with autumn 1, September. So again, it's up to you which one you want to do, whether you want to take this double outside or whether you want to use an indoor one. I'm going to use an indoor one, and I'm going to go with circuits and fitness. So a good start to the year, try and get the fitness levels up in the children. So I'm going to put that in. I still need something in year 4. So in year 4, I'm going to give them a lesson of badminton. And that gives me my full curriculum map for the school. Now, because I've used the TLG system to map this out, what I can then do is I can click Open PDF, and this is going to give me a document version of that map. So as you can see, what this gives me is a very nice pictorial PDF version of our long-term plan for the school that we can then take away and do our medium and short-term planning from. Now, if you're using the TLG-PE system, then obviously the medium and long-term plan is included, but you can still use this for your teaching staff to go and plan from. What this document gives you, which is really, really useful, is it gives you some end of key stage expectations. So in key stage 1, it gives you those end of key stage expectations for the different units of work that you've put in. So you can use those expectations and plan accordingly to make sure they're achieved if you want to do your own planning. Obviously, if you want to use the TLG-PE planning, then that planning works towards those key stage 1 expectations anyway. It also then gives you all of the year group expectations for the sports that you have chosen in your Key Stage 2 map. So we chose athletics, we chose cricket. So this tells us exactly what we should be teaching in year 3, 4, 5, 6, and the learning expectations that we should expect to see. Now again, if you're using the TLG-PE system, the planning that's provided in the system will help you teach these learning objectives. That's what it's focused to do. But if you want to go and do your own planning or you have your own provision, then you can still do that. You can just work towards the learning objectives that are set out here if you don't have your own already. This is going to really help you show that progression year group on year group, so you know exactly what should be taught in each year group, and you can then try and make sure that the children move on to the next one. So everything that we have put into the Key Stage 2 curriculum map, all of those sports, they're all here with the learning objectives for the different year groups, so we know exactly what we're trying to achieve. Now you can then take this document, print it out, keep it in your PE subject leader file, or alternatively you can then look at the pricing for the TLG-PE planning if that's something you want to do. But fundamentally this is there to help you map out your PE curriculum and to help you get a really engaging and exciting curriculum for the school, but importantly for the pupils to really get engaged with PE, get excited by PE and learn some different sports and activities along the way. Now, as ever, if you need any help or assistance with anything regarding PE and school sport, you can contact us at info@tlg-pe.co.uk, or you can communicate with us via any of our social media channels. If you would like to get a quote on any of the products available via the TLG-PE system, then just visit www.tlg-pe.co.uk. We will, as always, we will be here to help you should you need any help or advice. But hopefully the curriculum mapping software in the TLG-PE website will give you the perfect opportunity to map out a fun, engaging and progressive curriculum for your children. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope that you found this webinar useful, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch.